Okay, here we are. This is put together because a lot of people go online in the Switch community, and one of the first things they say is, hello, just bought this game, heard a lot about it, blah blah blah. How do I play it? What do I do? So this is why this is recorded, and we're going to show you what you got to do. So the reason we got Ghostface here is because that's the last killer I played as, who's my main killer. But if you're thinking, yeah, who's that? What's he doing? That's just the start screen. That's what you're first going to see once you got your Nintendo account, etc. But here we go. We're going to go to the tutorials and show you what's going on. So obviously you come into this game and you basically want to play as survivor or a killer. You've got links here, support, forums on the Dead by Daylight site. The game, basically what it is, and in honesty, it's just a weird game. We're either chased by a nutter of a killer, or you are the killer and you're chasing survivors trying to get out. So basically, if you are playing from survivor point of view, you get into a map or a zone, and you spawn in this map, and you basically have to power the 5 generators to get out. Now when you're powering the 5 generators, you get skill checks, which you then have to hit an additional button on your controller to get the check in the right line, which we'll show you. But the basic premise of it is power 5 gens, which will then allow 2 exits to be opened. That's all there is, just 2. You can open just one and all go out the one, or you can open both, depends what's going on in the match. Sometimes you don't even get to open one. But as you open the exit, there's a little progress bar, and while the progress bar is going up to open it, you've got to be looking for the killer coming, because they always do. Sometimes you get a rare occasion where you can press and hold it and the killer's nowhere to be seen because he's distracted hooking other people. But as a survivor, you're in there to do gens, and you can only be hooked 3 times. So the first hook, you're alright. You're best not to attempt to escape, because there's only a 4% chance of getting off, and wait for the rescue. There are perks and add-ons and items you can take into the game. These perks differ with every survivor. Some of them have a perk, or one has a perk called Deliverance, where it's 100% guarantee you will get off the hook one time, just by pressing and holding, and off he goes. And you can have that perk unlocked and basically use it with other survivors. But for perks to be unlocked, you've got to have used a survivor up past level 13, 35 I think it is, and you can take them up to level 50, and then prestige, lose everything, do prestige 1, prestige 2, prestige 3 levels. So while you can get your survivors up to a level 50, it's almost like you can get them to level 200 if you want to prestige them, but the number will only show 50. So you got 1 to 50 is normal, 1 to 50 a second time is prestige 1. Prestige 2 obviously carries on. Prestige 3 is when you've essentially leveled up for the 200th time. And every time you prestige, you lose all perks, all add-ons, all items, and it's like starting again. A lot of people don't do it, some people do. It depends who you are and what you want to do. But we're going to go into Survivor and show you what you're going to end up doing. How to play. There we go. So this screen's common. This is just your loading screen. Your 4 little survivors there, look, and you strike through the middle, I assume, is the killer. So, an asymmetric game that is played in trials between up to 4 survivors and 1 murderous killer. As a survivor, your main objective is to escape and live another day. Now, press 8, you've got your right little joystick will be up and down, and look around, which you're probably thinking, oh, But there you go. You can look around. You can look around slow. You can zoom around fast if you think the killer's about. It depends what light as you play. You can bob up and down, which is normally an acknowledgement of like a hello with a lot of survivors. Round and round, bob up and down. Forward on your flat pad, so to speak, the up, down, left, right that was normally flat on your controller. Forward is to point, saying do that generator or the killer's coming. Press back or press down on the flat pad. That's like come with me, come with me. You could have a key to escape through the hatch, which I'll explain. Or you could be saying come with me, do this gen. But here's your generator. Press R and the progress bar appears. You can look around, see if the killer's coming, etc. But it's powered. So now you can escape and get to the exit. So once all the 5 generators are done, off we go to this chap. There you go. Press and hold R. I mean, on this tutorial there's no killer in sight. It's just slowly taking you through. But you can look around, up, down, whatever. Most people sort of line it up and they're doing that, looking for the killer. And then bang. Off you go. Walk through doesn't leave any tracks. Running does leave tracks. We'll explain that. But, if I do this, to us there's nothing on the ground. It's all invisible. You've not left footprints, you've not left nothing. But to the killer, he'll see a load of red marks, red scratches. So if you're doing this the whole trial, it's like leaving the killer a track of where you've been and say, look, this is where I've gone. You'll probably find me if you follow this, which is what the killers do. And find the scratch marks. If you're going to do this, crouch down and creep, then you don't leave any marks. But sometimes you just have to run, that's how it is. So repair, this is where your checks come in. Now you've got to get that check in that little grid, if you want to call it that. If you get it in the white bit of it, it's called a great check. If you get it in the darker bit, see, that's a great one. If you get it in the darker bit, it's just a good check, I think it is. You'll see. But basically, if you miss a check, which we'll do now, press too early or too late, there you go. Notify the killer of your whereabouts. So you do that on a trial, and the killer's looking around, he'll see an explosion from where you've done it, and he then knows where to come. So you carry on. 2, 3 or 4 of you can get on these gens. Some are blocked, some you can get 2 on. There you go. Some you can get 4 on, some you can only get 3 on, some you can only get 1 on, depending how they're positioned on the maps. They spawn different every time. Keep missing that. But yeah, they're not always in the same place on the maps. But you just without missing. And at this point, normally in a match, a killer's probably going to come after he's heard that. He's going to hear that and go, oh, aye, he's over there, is he? Or they, or them, or whoever. And then that's it, they know where to come. You don't miss any check, they might still come. But yeah, depending entirely on the killer, the player who's using them, it depends. Some killers can be after just one person for some reason, and other times every explosion that's heard, they'll be on you, or they'll be coming that way to try and find you. So advice is leave the gen, find another, or hide, wait to see if he goes. If he does, go back to it. Be careful with your checks. So here we go with the killer. You survived in the trial, may be hindered by a murderous killer whose only goal is to sacrifice as many survivors as possible, which is true. Their goal is kill you, stop you getting out. Use every resource available to avoid being in the presence of the killer. Listen out for the terror radius or the heartbeat. It may help you recognise when the killer's nearby. Here we go. This killer is the trapper. This is just one in the tutorial. You point to him. You're like, come here, come here. You bob up and down. If you do that, new to the game, in front of the killer, They might not take it nicely and they'll just floor you. Others will actually bob up and down back and say, oh yeah, hello, how are you doing? And then carry on the chase. It really depends who the player is. But hear me, come on, come on, come on. Obviously he's after you. This is what you're up against. This is just one of them. These people at bars, this is just tutorial. But this is basically the entity blocking. And this happens on Windows, if you go through Windows too much. And it also happens on the exit, where a certain perk is used by a killer called Bloodweb. If the killer hooks someone in after the exit's powered, there's a perk called Bloodweb, and you'll get to the exit to go out, and you'll see these things. And you can't get out for a minute at the most. But there you go. This is the terror radius. See, as you're on a generator, you'll hear this sort of like, yep, just hear it in the background. That's basically the start of the killer's terror radius. Obviously as they get closer, it gets more intense, and it means get the hell out of there. The heart will increase and you can't miss it basically. One thing you have to do in this game is listen. So, see how it gets louder? Starts picking up, heartbeat. As you get closer. Come on. And then it gets more intense. It's like you're running and chasing. Then you have to get out the radius. When you're out its radius, it's sometimes because you've outsmarted them. See, there's your tick. You're out the radius. And if it's because they've gave up, or they've saw someone else, or they've gone after another survivor, it depends. But yeah, there's all sorts of things you do as a survivor which can alert the killer to your presence. Here's part of it with a creep. You're not leaving any scratch marks, no red scratch marks, no tracks for the killer to find. These little chaps, the crows, these are informers to the entity, in a way. They basically squawk and moan, and there's even a perk, Spies from the Shadows, where the killers can use it and the crows sort of alert to say, survivors over here, when someone's, you know, past them. Now you vault like this and it's quiet, no tracks. You vault like this, there you go, scratch marks on wildlife, you see. Running through the environment creates scratch marks, alarm wildlife, alerting killer to your location. But if you're going to run like this, vault through that, do it again. So if you're making that noise when you're going through a window, over a trunk like that, then that's going to appear in the killer's distant view as an explosion. He then knows where to come. Like that can happen on these windows, which aren't normally boarded up like this. There's normally one boarded up and one open. And the same with these doorways, you'll have a pallet there which you can slam the killer with. Probably this one, this doorway. If you slam that when there's no killer about, or if you go vaulting fast through the window when there's no killer about, all of these appear as an explosion on the killer's wavelength, so to speak. He looks and goes, oh aye, someone's messing about over there, and he knows where you are. So here we go, look, hide from the killer. So this is a place you want to avoid most of the time. This is killer's basement, and it's got 4 hooks that do not disappear. When people die on the other hooks, they get hooked and they finally die for the 3rd time on the hook, then the hook will be out of use. All these will be out of use. These are sort of indestructible hooks, if you want to call it that. And in the basement there's also normally a chest, either in this corner or this corner, but there's also these lockers. The chests have items in, which I'll explain, but you press to go in here and you can hide and you can look about, see where the killer is. But sadly there'll be a time when you're in there and he opens. That's it, he's got you. So as you're being carried to the hook, you put your joystick left and right pressed and you can wiggle. Sometimes you can get the wiggle up to the full bar, of the little progress bar and you can get off, but a lot of the time you can be close and he's just got you on. It depends. But if you're hooked by the killer, options are limited. You can risk escaping the hook yourself. However, each failed attempt will reduce your health and speed up the sacrificial progress. So if you keep doing this till the bar is full every time, then after the third one, this happens. See, there's the legs, and he's grabbing on, which you have to keep pressing A to keep him off, but the energy will run out. In this case, the tutorial, Meg's rescued you, and here's one of the chests that's normally down here. It's in one of the corners normally. There's normally lockers here. So you just go up to that, press R, hold R down, keep it held down. And he's a noisy git, but this is just what they do. You can't alter it. And in this case, we got a first aid kit. So, killer's put you on a hook, someone's got you off. Heal with a kit, and there's checks again. Skill checks. You'll see. In fact, no, you might not on this one, because it's a short medikit and it's tutorial. But you'll normally get skill checks, and you have to get them in the right range again with the other button. Normally the L button, depending on how you got it configured. So, here we go. Put you up when you're looking up, see if the killer's coming, because he normally is. But yeah, this is normally unblocked. This is just tutorial, so it's just limited. One of the windows, normally this one, is unblocked, and there's normally always what some people call a god pallet here. Basically the main back door out of the shack, and you can't get through the other door normally, but this is tutorial level and it's just limited. So survivor's been hooked, you're in the match, you've done a gen, or you're halfway through and you hear that killer's put someone on the hook. First check the killer's not about, in this case Ian. Press R, keep it pressed, unhook him. And you can heal her if she wants to heal. Sometimes they want to leg it to a safe place and then heal. But here we go, press R, skill checks again. I think, there you go. Either on the white or in the little black bit. As long as it's in them lines, you're fine. If you don't, then she'll cry out in pain, you'll have to go again. And this is where you've got your 2-on-1 gen. So in this case, if this was a level, you can get 4 on that gen, which is rare. But you press on, and you get it done faster with 2, of course. Same with 3, same with 4. And that's why the gens aren't always accessible to all 4, because it'd just be too easy. But you keep on, the bar gets red, because there's 2 of you on it. Sometimes it gets red when there's 1 of you on it. If there's a perk in play that the killer's using to slow the progress down. So you've got 2 options when you finish. The first one is power the exit. Easiest one, always easy if you can find the exits. You've always got to look when the exits appear. So when the 5th gen is done, you'll hear the noise like whoop, then it will say find the exit, just like it does on this screen at the bottom left here. You then look and you'll see that this main exit box is glowing up and magnified on the map, and you can look around like that and you'll see 2 of them, so you know where they are. So you escape out the exit normally. If for some reason you're not near the exit, killer's giving you stress and you see one of these, then this is the hatch. Basically killer can stop you as you jump through the hatch, depending how good he is. But this is your alternate escape. But if killer finds this first, he can close this and you can't open it unless you've got a key, which is one of the add-ons. But there you go, down he goes, and you've done. We're going to show you the bloodweb so we know that you understand. See, this happens sometimes. You get an invite, you want to accept them, that's up to you, from your friends. But here you go. Here's your list of survivors. I haven't unlocked everyone. See, they all go up to level 50 and then start again. So all the ones are level 1 I've not used. The ones not on level 1, obviously we have used. Meg's quite a good one here. You got Dwight, Claudette, Jake, Feng, Will, or Bill, Ace, Nia, David King, Kate, my favourite, Adam Francis, Laurie Strode. Again, you have to unlock her. You have to unlock Steve. On all these you have to unlock. Serena's brand new, not been here long. Yui's the same, probably been here 6 months now. Ash from Evil Dead, unlock. And same with these. But just to get into it, once you've picked who you want, get to your loadout. You've obviously got to have earned some blood points, which are up here. And you get blood points during every match. End of the match tells you how much you've got. So here's one of your toolboxes. Tells you all about it. 32 charges, increases repair, unlocks a sabotage so you can disconnect hooks, but they do respawn. Here's your medkits, toolbox, torch. We haven't got no maps, but you can basically add on to these. So arrange your medkit. You can then go to add-ons. Have 2 add-ons if you've got them. There you go, and it tells you what they do. That adds 8 charges to the kit. That increases healing speed, and this increases progression bonus for the checks when you're healing. So again, it depends what you want. So you can put that on, and that's a second, and then you come to your offering, which is what comes up before the match starts. If you put this up, in this case it's Grandma's Cookbook, which is basically translated. It will take you to a certain map to play that level. Don't always work. Sometimes 2 or 3 survivors will take one of these in, and it's hit and miss which one will be obviously spawned to. But that one takes you to the backwater swamp, which is a good level, to be honest. There's your perks. These get unlocked bit by bit. As you can see here, we've got level 25 with Laurie. She goes up to a 50, then it gets to prestige 1, 2 and 3. But in this case, in the first 5 levels you got 1 perk. Level 10 you've got a second perk. Level 15 I think it is, you get a third. Then you get a 4th perk later on. Let's have a look at the one we haven't used. Can't remember how it goes. There you go to your loadout. Yeah, there you go. So you start with 1, level 5 you get 2, level 3 you get 10, level 4 you get 15. Level 15 you get 4 perks, and your perks will be down here once you purchased them from your bloodweb. So in this case I've never used David, so there's no items, there's no add-ons, there's no offerings. Obviously you got to level him up from level 1 again to 5 to 10 to 15 to unlock all of those. This is where you buy your stuff once you've got your points. So your mind has opened up the bloodweb. This is where you go buying when you've got blood points. I'll explain these in a minute. But your blood points, you can buy one of your offerings. It'll tell you what it is: common offering, an add-on for the flashlight, a bulb, a medkit, and this is a perk. Strange that that's available, because that's an Adam Francis perk. In fact, it's on the Shrine of Secrets at the minute, which is a thing that appears all the time, that you can unlock perks, which I have unlocked that one, so that's why it's there. Activatable perk, just one of them. When you're standing in the killer's range, you can throw a stone and it will make the noise appear to the killer, and scratch marks, as you see there. Distraction consists of loud noise, scratch marks. So killers go looking at it thinking, what's that? And it does work sometimes. But your bloodweb is basically that level 1. There isn't much to there. So we go back to Kate. There we go, bloodweb. much later on. She's Prestige 1, as you can see here, little 1 at the back of the skull, and you go up to 3, and this is where you get your bloodweb with a lot more on it. As you get up in level, it gets more and more. So you got your tools, you got add-on for a flashlight, your bulb there, you got white ward. This stops you losing your items if you don't get out and you die. Add-on for a key. I've got no maps in here. Let's have a look. What we've got here. Here's a key. These can be used to open the hatch. So if the killer closes it and you go to it with the pink key or a purple key, like here, you can get out. If you got a green key, it's broken, you can't get out through the hatch. This is a thing that comes every year, Chinese firecracker, when it's Chinese New Year. I've only got one left, use the rest. They spawn in the bloodweb. This is a map, they come in different forms. And rainbow map is one of the top maps. The pink's normally the top sort of range of the item, green's like a middle, brown's like the lowest, and the yellow's like the next one up. So it sort of progresses: brown, yellow, green, and the purple and pink are the two top ones. But in this case, a perk from Meg, a perk from Claudette, a perk from Nia, and a perk which is Kate's own. And this will give you a bit more wiggle when you're trying to get out of the killer's grasp. This one will make you land and have an 150 boost of normal running speed for 3 seconds. So if you're being chased and fall off something that's a bit higher than normal, like a big stone hump in one of the levels, or out of a building, down some steps or off the edge of some steps, you'll land and you'll get a little burst of speed. Self-care, one of the most used perks. When you're injured and no one's around to heal you, you can heal yourself. Again, these all go up in levels. You've got the 3 little strikes on these: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Quick and quiet, you can get into lockers quick and they won't hear you. And each of these have different sort of levels. So this one, balanced landing, in the middle there, causes exhausted status for 40 seconds. With the tier 1 and tier 2, there's different levels of the exhausted. I think it's 60 and 50 seconds, and 40 is the lowest you can get with the tier 3 balanced landing. Same with the boil over. They've all got the 1, 2 and 3 levels, don't go any further. But yeah, offering here to go to the particular map, which is the one from Stranger Things. Again, this is a key add-on. You can not use a key to get out, you can use it to hold a button down and it will show where the killer is at great expense of the key's energy, as it says. So you can actually waste a key if you're not careful. This is another add-on for the key, and it stacks as it says, so you can use it with this or with another add-on for the key. Decreases your chances to be the killer's obsession, reveals the obsession's aura. So every match there's an obsession, or most matches, and whoever the killer's got an obsession with, not all of the time but most of the time, they'll be yellow. You'll see a yellow figure in the distance unless they're close to you, and that's the obsession in this game. But yeah, that's one of your top keys there. But yeah, that's the main gist of it. Keys, firecracker at New Year, maps, torches, medkits, and toolboxes, which we haven't got at the minute, but toolboxes vary. Mechanics toolbox here, it's only got 16 charges, although it is a green one, so it's a better one. Then you got a yellow one, 20 charges. See, they do vary, they do vary. You got yeah, come on, a flashlight add-on, a map add-on, medkit add-on, an offering. It tells you what they are in the brand: bog laurel, common offering. Another offering here, better one because it's purple. Jar of salty lips, which sounds very dodgy, but it looks at all the survivors there. Look, considerably increases look of all survivors. This one will make the mist thicker, so you can hide a bit easier. There's all sorts. So as we go to killers, Killers may injure or down survivors with a well-timed blow from the primary weapon. Try not to miss, as it may give them a brief moment the need to escape, which I can tell you they so in this case, there you go, she's been caught by his trap. That's one of his additions, the trapper. So she's not a free herself, just tutorial. You give her a slap. I know, it's not nice. Pick her up, press R. In the real world of the game, you're carrying her about like this, they're more likely wiggling. And killers can have perks to make the wiggle not as serious to him. Like one the trapper has is agitation, and another one's called iron grasp, which they all have 3 levels of add-ons. So in this case, she ain't wiggling, it doesn't matter. Take her to a hook, press R, up she goes. So she just hangs there and doesn't press anything. She's got quite a while, I think it's a minute and a half, without struggling. And then someone's got to get her off, or she goes into struggle state, as we see here. Struggle state is when these arms come down, like I showed you, and basically you're tapping A to keep the arms from getting you, but you will eventually run out of energy and you'll die. So lunge attack. So lunge attack is when you press and hold your R, or your ZR in this case, on my controller. But this is what you're looking to do around the game. You're around the map, you're side to side, you're up and down depending. You might want to get your view right. And with some killers you can crouch down. They have like a stalk, like Ghostface and the pig. And I'm not sure if Myers does it. Michael Myers, don't think he does. There's one of your pallets. So if she slams that Azure chin, it will stun you. You walk up, keep the R pressed, and he'll kick it, smash it. See, these are the scratch marks that she leaves because she's running. Not too hard to miss. So this is where you can see what trail she's taken, because there's a lot of trees and this and that and the other on many of the levels. So look at these marks. When you're running, you're always leaving these marks every time. So that was pressing and a hold. He had a bit of a lunge and it slows him down because he's missed. In this case, get close and then do it. Many times I've done it and it's wrong, but you get used to it. You get used to it. You'll always have bad matches until you get to a good level. And even on the good levels, you're going to be going against good level survivors, and it's hit and miss. Depends how good you are, depends how good they are. So this is where you damage your gens. So you come up to a gen, they've all legged it, they've seen you coming. Up, hold R, keep it held, wait for that smoke to come out and a bit of sparking. And that'll slowly decrease the gen until they get back to it. See, this one's not been touched. So when it's not been touched, you can't do anything to it because it's not even been attempted to been started. So if someone's on this one, you can drag them off if you get sneaking up. Interrupting the action. So once you've got her, you can't go through windows or kick pallets. You're basically holding them and you're taking them to a hook as fast as you can, because they will be wiggling, and if they get wiggled too much they'll get off, which will stun you for a couple of seconds. You can't do anything. So on she goes. He's just gone in a locker. If you hit the locker, it's not going to do a lot. Do this, then that's it. It's automated, they can't stop it. So again, he's normally going to be wiggling. Get him to a hook fast as you can. On he goes. Someone will rescue him, or whether he jumps off depends on the perks, players, etc. So now we're in a situation where gens have been done. Yellow hooks that light up like this. There you go. That means they're in use. Red hooks are not in use. When they've died on that hook, the hook is then unusable, and the metal hook will drop off. This is what you'll be seeing. when they're trying to power the exit. Normally they see you coming and they leg it just like this. You then take them down, you're not leaving. Again, depends on the killer. The killer can never leave, he gets stuck there. And that noise there, 2 yellows are in use, and that noise is the entity taking one of them. Someone's just died. So all these gens, when like this, all lit up, you can't do anything with them. One thing you shouldn't constantly do is that you sit there slogging them, it's not going to do nothing for the energy, it doesn't get you anywhere, it doesn't get you more points, it's basically pointless. But some people do it, sadly. But yeah, the lockers, go in these lockers and basically hide with a perk called head on. So if you go by, or chasing someone as they go by and they're in there, then basically they can do a charge and knock you and stun you for 3 seconds. Fuck Meg, where's Meg? Yeah, but once you've floored them like this, they can crawl and go wherever, and they'll hide. Again, perks for the killers, one called Deer Stalker. When you're in a, I think a 32 metre range, or certain range, I'll have to double check, they'll light up in red so you can see their aura. And she goes. So it says here, every killer has their own individual power to learn and master. Each killer has a different way to track and kill their prey. Try them all, experiment with different combinations of perks and add-ons, which is right. There's 2 of these for this killer I use on my killer, Ghostface. Agitation. In fact, there's one brutal strength where you can kick pallets and smash them a lot easier. But yeah, basically, you've just seen the basics, basically. But yeah, if you're a survivor, you've got to get out, avoid the killer, rescue people off the hooks, and try not to miss skill checks. Don't be jumping through windows fast, in and out of lockers fast, because it will create, to the killer's point of view, an explosion. He then knows where you are. From the killer's side of it, if they're doing that, then you've got an easier match, because you're going to know where they are. Again, each killer has got their own different powers. Ghostface, Oni, Trapper, Clown, all the rest of them. They got these things that will help them out. Like Ghostface will stalk. Trapper will trap them. He'll lay traps, and they'll walk into them, or he'll put them in place where a window is. So if you jump out the window, you'll land on the trap. There's all different things that can happen. The Clown will lob bottles at you, which will make you dizzy and not see the screen correctly, so you're struggling to see. The Huntress, she'll throw hatchets at you and down you from a distance. They've all got these git powers, but at the end of the day, they've got to stop you all. And when teams work together, it's a lot harder for the killers. And yeah, if you're up against a good killer, it's harder for the survivors. But survivor or killer, is up to you. Experiment, mess about with the killers, mess about with the survivors. They've all got the good perks and the good add-ons. The add-ons are the same for every killer. Every killer unlocks perks just like survivors. So a Michael Myers add-on can be used by Ghostface once it's unlocked, and same with the survivors. Once you've unlocked them, you can use them with the other survivors. So a Kate Denson perk may be unlocked and then appear in a Laurie Strode bloodweb, and there you go. You then get going as a survivor or a killer and get playing. And there's your latest news. This is what will pop up automatically sometimes. These are normally got images in. I don't know the answer at the minute. Like that. Like that. So that's the latest mass for Ghostface at the time of recording this. That tells you updates, what they've done. There's normally an image there, and then they say, we fix this, we fix that. Which they do quite a bit of. They try and keep it good. New outfits. Here's your when this was released recently. New killer, a new survivor, so it tells you there. A new killer, a new survivor. Exclusive item for Savina if you buy it as a complete pack. Or you can just buy killer and survivor separately, depending what you want to do. But back off there. And that's it. That's your intro. Dead by Daylight. Bloody long. But you're going to have a hell of a lot more of a good idea of what to do now. So go in, have a practice on the tutorial. Get your controls how you want to do them. And you can do that here. You can settings up to controls, and you press on one of them and then press the button you want to use, and that's what it will do. And it just, here's your gestures, look, point at something, follow me, or come here on your flat pad, your up and down. You can configure that to left and right if you're that bothered. And aim, look, with a camera, that's with the joysticks. Interactions, struggling on the hook. Active ability is when you say like using a med kit and you've got an add-on, press the active and it'll activate the add-on depending on what you're using. And yeah, tutorials if you want them again. How to play killer, survivor, tell you about the killers, tell you about survivors, and tells you about the game, which we've just done. But that's it for now. Hope we haven't bored you too much. And if you're still watching, bloody hell, you must be patient. But enjoy, and welcome to the fog.